Welcome, everybody, to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
What's up? It's Joe.
Joe, we have a special guest this week, but before we bring him in, and I know if you're watching this on video, it's going to seem awkward because we just have this guy standing there, but before we bring our guest in, you went fishing last week. How was that?
Fantastic.
The pictures look great.
Yeah, man. Had the fam down there. Took a whole week off, which is, I don't know, man. I don't remember the last time I went somewhere from, and it was 2 Saturdays. In May. I don't know. My life has definitely changed over the last 5 years.
I was going to say, if you can take 2 Saturdays off in May, it definitely has.
It's
and it strikes me as friendly as you and I are, as tight as we are, there are things that you love that I couldn't. Like, you spent a week fishing. I wouldn't want to spend a week. I wouldn't want to spend 2 hours on a boat fishing. I get seasick. It seems like a tedious. And tonight, I'll angle the camera down a little bit so you can see I am going to my first Mets game, which I'm super excited about. The weather here in the tri-state area is beautiful. It's going to be a nice night. We have our ace going. And you could care less about baseball.
I couldn't sit there.
Joe would rather get root canal than sit in a ballpark.
If somebody said you have to sit through 9 innings. Is it 9 innings?
It is 9 innings. And I will never forget this. 7 years ago, Joe and I were in Las Vegas for the LDI show. Joe and I were the only 2 DJs out in Las Vegas. And the Mets were in the postseason, which is the last time we were in the postseason, which hopefully ends this year. And Joe spent an entire night in a bar with me watching the game.
I did.
It was very, very nice of you.
I did.
True sign of friendship.
Yep.
Now let's see. There was the NLCS. Do you remember who we were playing?
I remember Brandy Bartlett being around us or with us. And
all right, let me give you a hint.
Okay.
We're about to welcome our guest. Okay. Do you remember who the Mets were playing in that series?
Let's just say it was the Chicago Cubs.
That's correct. Okay. Do you remember the outcome of that series?
I feel like the Cubs won.
Nope. The Mets not only won it, but there's a term in sports that you're probably familiar with because they use this in basketball as well called swept.
Sure.
So the term swept means that one team won all the games.
Yes.
The opponent won none of the games.
Is that what happened?
With that, let's welcome in the one and only Keith Kakarez.
What's up,
How are you, Casey? One of the
there you go.
I got my Cub shirt on, guys.
That's awesome.
One of the biggest Cub fans I know. Casey is a big fan. You get out there often, right? Wrigley's a beautiful ballpark.
Oh yeah, since they've redone the ballpark, it's if you've been there previous to the World Series, it's like going to a whole new ballpark.
Wow.
I was out there about 3 weeks ago on a beautiful, rare, like 70-degree spring day.
Nice.
And it's just the whole neighborhood's totally different. I mean, you've been out there before. In fact, I went with you once when I first met you.
I went to one game there, and it was with you. That's correct.
Yeah. If you went there now, you'd be like, holy cow, this is
because that's got to be about 15 years ago, probably. So it's changed that much, huh? Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable. The Ricketts family's done an unbelievable job with the neighborhood and the ballpark, and it still has all the structural integrity, and it's still one of the oldest ballparks in the business, but it's different. Now, what's interesting to both of you is, as an outsider, like if you asked Rod Randall, for example, he'd go, fishing couldn't be more boring. The only thing more boring is baseball.
So Rod would hate both of them. Yeah.
Relaxation. And yet you guys are both like, I would never do that. I would never do that.
Yeah, my biggest problem with fishing, well, besides the tedium, is I get seasick on a boat. Okay. So I'd be hurling over the side of the boat. It's just not for me.
I'm not going to lie. We don't go far offshore, so you would still like it because you love the sun.
I love the ocean. I was actually disappointed. Yesterday was my day off.
Yeah.
I went down to the ocean to have lunch, but it was so windy down there. I didn't last more than 5 minutes. Right. I came home and had my lunch in my backyard. Right. But I was looking forward to my first kind of beach day yesterday, which I'll get it soon. But yeah.
But I've been on multiple dinner cruises with you, and you never seemed uncomfortable.
Yeah, those are the bigger boat. The smaller boats tend to be a little. Am I right, Joe? They tend to be a little bit choppier.
They'll rock and roll you. Yeah.
Okay.
It was rough out there a little bit.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So welcome, Keith. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate being here.
So, Casey, want to talk obviously about Marquee today, but before we get into the show, rapidly coming up, less than a month now.
Less than a month.
I kind of wanted to, walk back in time a little bit and talk to you about, what is your motivation for giving back to the industry? You know, because I've been in Think Tank for briefly. Mike was in it for many years. You literally started
Right.
DJ Think Tank. Then you were the head of, I guess, the local ADJA or the Chicago
Right.
ADJA at one point. Now you're obviously the founder, the producer, the brains, the worker behind the Marquee Show, which I've been to, I guess, twice now. Out of the, will this be the fourth or fifth?
It'll
year?
be our fourth show, fifth year.
Right, fourth show. So I think
Right.
I've been to two of the four. As a show producer myself, I know it's not for the money. So what motivates you? Why do you? What is your passion for giving back to the industry? Like, why do you do this stuff?
Okay, so I used to work for multi-op like a lot of people.
Sure.
And when I went to my first DJ show, it was like 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And it was put on by a local DJ supply store.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that show gave me the guts to give my notice. So that was like November of 89, and I gave
Wow.
my notice on February 1st, 1990.
Mm-hmm.
But that was because I saw, like, it allowed me a path to see just past. And Mike, you can probably relate to this too. You knew the Star DJ way of doing things, but then when you go to a show, you see like this totally different universe, and that's what got me excited. So I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so I started buying records and turntables and had my setup ready to go. And I gave my notice and started my first company then. And then November of 92, DJ Times at the time was traveling the country.
Yeah.
And they came to Chicago. And so I was friends with a bunch of people, and one of them was Frank Lapino, who was the rep for American DJ. And so I came with him, and he borrowed some truss and some different things to set up the American DJ booth. And I met John Roz and Jeff Green and John Murphy and all of the early guys. And again, now we're at a national level, and I'm seeing at the time, John Murphy at the time may have only had 50 DJs as opposed to the 100.
92, yeah. I think we had about 45 or 50 DJs in 92.
Yeah.
That was my last year there. Yeah.
I mean, again, I was now at that point where I'm like, can I do this full time or not? And I was like, I can definitely do this. And I met, God rest in peace, Andy Ebon at that show, and countless other people that have come and gone from the industry. Mm-hmm. And so that inspired me, and I was drinking from the fire hose. And then I think at some level, we all get enough experience that we're not drinking from the fire hose anymore.
Yeah.
And pre-social media and podcasts like this, I would make it a point to seek out people that I felt were on my level. And Randy Ray actually told me, hey, you got to see this guy named Mike Walter present. You two would really get along. You guys both have multi-ops and think a lot the same way, except for your taste in baseball. But
and music.
What's that?
And music.
And music.
Casey's as big a Billy Joel fan as I am a Prince fan, and we've often tried to debate who's better. Like it's something that could be proven. It's so silly. It's such a silly argument.
That'll never be settled.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow, that having been said, like I met you there, and then it just got to a point where the shows are all great, and I have no beef with any of the shows, as probably you don't either, Joe.
I don't.
But I decided I wasn't getting out of the shows what I wanted. I was getting more out of having lunch with Mike and Randy Bartlett, and Marcello would turn 30, and I flew out for his birthday party, and I did the Jersey tour. I stayed with Mike one night, and I think Randy Ray another night, and I saw Jeffrey Craig's office and Jerry Sari, all the Jersey guys.
Sure.
And I remember we ended up at that Chinese buffet, and we were all talking shop, and it was almost a shame that we had to leave. And I said, okay, I've seen all of your offices. If I organized like a round table, organized, discussion group for a week, would you guys come? And everyone's like, yeah. So I invited, I think, like 50 people, and like 20 something came, and that was the first thing. And it was no exclusive thing. It was just my Rolodex of people that I had breakfast, lunch, or dinner with at various shows, or that other people had suggested to me. And they're doing their 20th think tank this year.
Yeah. So, Case, I don't want to cut you off, but I mean, that's the history of think tank. But what we are more interested in is where does your passion come from for, like you said to me recently, you believe in the rising tide lifts all ships theory. And is that simply because you have done so much for this industry? I put you on the Mount Rushmore of people who have tried to move this industry forward with your efforts. And just any idea where that passion comes, because so many DJs have the exact opposite. Hey, I want to keep everything to myself and just better myself and my company. But you obviously feel the exact opposite. And I'm not trying to, kiss your ass because you're my guest, but I've always wondered where that comes from.
Well, let's put it this way. I think both of you guys are presenters, and at one point in time, you were audience members. And I can only speak for myself. I said, someday I hope to be good enough or have enough knowledge that I'd be worthy of being on that stage. And I achieved that. And I like giving back. I enjoy it. I mean, I really enjoy the camaraderie of the shows and the other DJs. And I feel as though, very much like Joe, you probably feel with Collective, and Mike, you do with this podcast, that you do have something to share. And I won't say that I'm going to build a better mousetrap. I'll build a different mousetrap. Yeah. DJ Collective is different. Midwest DJs Live is different. DJ Expo is different. I mean, I just saw they just announced they've got a huge opening night DJ that's tied in one of the festivals, and Marcus
Schultz. Schultz. I saw that yesterday. Yeah,
that's huge. I mean, and again, it's different. We're bringing in DJ Qbert and a couple other guys that we're going to be announcing soon, and so it's exciting.
And by the way, a small proof of what KC is talking about. A couple months ago, KC invited me to post when I post this podcast every Thursday morning on social media. I usually do it to my page and the discussion page and the graduate page, blah, blah, blah. And KC reached out to me and he said, feel free to post it. What do you have? A Marquee discussion page, right?
Yeah. Marquee Show community group. Yep.
So I've been doing that, but a few weeks ago when we had Jim and Sean on from DJ Mag and DJ, because the whole show was promoting DJ X, I thought, let me not post this in Marquee. But KC reached out to me that morning, literally, because he saw me and he said, Mike, feel free to post it here. And I was like, that is a very cool gesture on your part, and it does. And it backs the theory that, I understand you want Marquee to be successful, but I think there are too many show producers, or there were at least back in the day, nameless, that felt the only way to be successful was if another show failed. And I think you understand that shows can be successful, more than one show can be successful. And I respect the hell out of that with you.
Well, I think Pepsi's successful. I think Coke is successful. I mean, I think they're all fighting for their market share.
Sure.
But,
and I think Mike's exactly right, and I think geography matters.
Absolutely.
I think people, we know DJ X as it's known now in Atlantic City pulls from New York, New Jersey, Philly,
85% East Coast.
They drive in.
Right.
The West Coast guys, a lot of those go to MEX or whatever it's called now. It used
for
to be
Wedding
Mobile
MBA.
Or Wedding MBA because it's out there. You guys and Midwest are kind of in the middle of the country, so people come from all around there. So I think it matters. I'll travel wherever when I can. You know what I mean? But I do believe that geography does matter.
Chicago's with O'Hare Airport. You can get reasonably priced flights. Easy. From all over the place. I mean, we're very lucky that way. So, and our hotel is only like 20 minutes northwest of it. So, and driving in, again, I've cultivated a very strong database of, call it Midwest DJs, and photo booth operators, so they can drive in. And even as sort of the day, the hotel that I picked purposely has complimentary parking and is easy to get to. So I put a lot of thought behind it, not just because it's a cool hotel or some people love the casinos and whatever. I picked mine for a specific reason.
Yeah.
So.
Hey there. Sorry to interrupt this awesome podcast, but I wanted to read a review for you that I received recently. Let me see if I can find it. I get so many. Oh, here it is. Mike and his crew went so far above and beyond what my wife and I ever could have imagined for our wedding. The whole process from start to finish was professional, engaging, and fun. And then this client writes, the event planner is awesome and allows you so much time and flexibility in planning your event. That's the type of feedback we get all the time. A, how awesome we are. B, how helpful and cool our online planner is. And while it looks like we have this super cool online planner, it's just DJ Event Planner branded for us. So if you're not using DJ Event Planner, besides missing out on the most powerful CRM sales tools available to our industry, you are missing out on this type of feedback from your clients. Let the great planning tools available from DJ EP blow them away before their event, then you blow them away at the event. That's a winning formula. Head to djeventplanner.com right now and start your free 30-day trial. Go ahead, Joe and I will wait for you. So while you're talking about the hotel, why don't we use that as a segue? What can attendees expect? And if there's somebody sitting on the fence right now, what can you do and what can you say hopefully to convince them get the hell off the fence and get there,
man.
Get there, man. Dude.
Well, short of Wedding NBA, we have the most amount of education available, more than any other conference that currently exists, because we not only have, I think, 30 something seminars with your education pass, but we also have like another 20 something we call them like trade show talks. Mm-hmm. So an example is Chauvet is going to be debuting some new lighting technology, and Chauvet, Jeff Short from Chauvet is coming in. He's going to be debuting it in like a 20-minute TED talk that's not only available to education pass holders, but exhibit pass holders, like anybody. And currently our exhibit passes are complimentary until June 1st. And then after that, they go up to $20, and that $20 goes toward my annual toy drive. So it's not even going in my pocket. It's going to give back to the community. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to give people a sense of urgency to get it done in time. So we have them, Pioneers talking about Record Box. Curator Software is going to be debuting a whole new upgrade for their 360 stuff. And we're 2 weeks after NAMM with this rescheduling of NAMM.
That's right.
So the manufacturers will debut new products for the retailers, but we're going to be the first shot that people see of actually seeing it, feeling, and touching it.
That's really cool. Yeah,
we're excited. I mean, and we've got most of the major players in our show this year. Electro Voice is our title sponsor. We've got Rain, Denon, Newmark, Pioneer. We have JMAS Lighting, Blizzard Lighting, Chauvet DJ Lighting. We have all of the, I don't know what you want to call them, the DJ necessaries like DJ Event Planner, Promo Only, Q Platform, Vibo. I mean, we have 60-something booths, and I think we have 4 demo rooms already so far.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, we're the fastest-growing show in the country. You know, and I don't know.
It has come a long way, though.
Yeah. Joe, you were there
at the first one.
Year one, yeah. And there were like, I'm going to say maybe 100 people there total. Mm-hmm. And this year we're on pace to be at 1,000 total. So it's grown quite a bit. And
so are there any specific
I was there last year too.
Are there any specific presenters that you would push out there for somebody who's on the fence to say, hey, you can't miss this guy because he's giving a great seminar that has only been presented one other time in Las Vegas and you should be there for that? Is there anyone that maybe you could...
Rob Foray is going to give this killer
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
45 minutes on Who is Doja Cat, Rob Foray.
So I'll understand. It was nice to see you guys. Your podcast is over.
The broadcast is ending.
That's right. Thank you. Good night.
Next thing you know, Sean Hazen's on for part 2 of why you should go to DJ Expo in Atlantic City. No, we've got an unbelievable lineup of presenters, and of course, Mike Walter.
Oh, how nice of you to mention.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Mike Walter and Alan Berg are coming back. They were our 2 highest rated presenters.
That's awesome.
From last year. Now, here's what else is interesting. Out of fairness, and I never even told this to Joe, but I did tell it to Mike. In order to be totally transparent with all of the we sent out surveys to everyone, and Joe, I purposely left your seminar off of it because we had like presenter, title, what did you think, and then at the end of the day, what did you think of day one, blah blah blah. Not one person said, oh, Joe's seminar was great or Joe's seminar was terrible. And the reason I did that was a litmus test just to see how much people are paying attention.
Ouch.
So when I say top two, I put you on because you're one of the most, or I excluded you because you're one of the most popular people in the industry. And I just was kind of doing a test. And, Mike, Joe, you always give a great seminar.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
But I think that with all show producers, I think you need to bring some familiar faces back, and then you need to introduce some new people. So
I couldn't agree more. Yeah,
Alan and Mike are tried and true. There's no question about it. We've got your partner at DJC coming, Brian Bonacisi. Chad Blackburn's hosting our opening night karaoke party, which I know he's done it at DJC before, and the guy's amazing at it.
Well, he did it last year for you, didn't he?
What's that?
Didn't he do that last year for you?
He did it last year as well, yeah. So. And so we asked him to come back again this year.
He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's just a great guy, and his star is totally on the rise. Last year, again, just DJ Times didn't give him the best slot, but Chris DeMico, and you were there, Mike. He's got. We have 3 opening motivational speakers each day. Diamond Dallas Page on the first day, Chris DeMico on the second, and George Lopez on the third. And
dang.
Chris's seminar, I can't wait for him to have a full room because it's called The Ripple Effect, and he's just a great guy, and the story is amazing.
I like Chris a lot.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed. I have to leave Wednesday because I have an event Thursday, so I can't. Okay. I'm going to miss George Lopez. And George Lopez, I love George Lopez. If any listener is not familiar with Lopez, he is one of the most inspirational and also smart. I mean, he's not just a rah-rah guy. I've sat with George a number of times, and I get something out of every conversation I have with George Lopez. So, I mean, kidding aside about my seminar, I think George Lopez is worth the price of admission. Just go, especially if you've never seen him speak, get there, listen to George, and you'll be like, this was worth it right there.
Great. And he's not on like the regular DJ speaking circuit, so a lot of people will be unfamiliar.
That's why I wanted to give a little intro to our listeners. Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, I know.
And he is not the comedian from LA. He's the
It's a different guy.
Different guy.
Because it's when I say we've got 3 motivational speakers. Diamond Dallas Page. Some people recognize him as a WWE wrestler, and then I bring up George Lopez, and they're like, "You've got a comedian and a wrestler?" Like, well, George is entertaining, but not funny. We've got Chris Washburn, who's another one that I think is
great guy,
totally on the rise. He's doing the same seminar he did at MEX that unfortunately was not well attended. And I have to tell you, I saw a young Randy Bartlett in him. His PowerPoint was right on the money. He had inserted jokes at the right spots.
Well, wait, if his PowerPoint worked, then it's not Randy Bartlett.
It's very true. Which it's kind of ironic.
It's a bad comparison.
We were at Wedding NBA. He had massive PowerPoint issues, and he struggled through the whole thing. So,
oh man.
But he was unbelievable at MEX, and I had asked him to speak in general, but we were going to tweak out the topic.
Yeah.
When I saw him speak on video integration and a different kind of a DJ vibe, I mean, he's just he was unbelievable. I'm like, don't change it.
Yeah,
I said, I looked at your audience, and you're going to have a fresh audience, and this is a great presentation. He did a great job.
Great.
Dave Lander always kills it. Nice. DJ Flipside's going to be there with the Tweak Music Tip guys, Kova and George May. They're going to be streaming on Twitch the entire week from outside of the seminar room. Yeah. Eric Massengale is going to be talking about automating your CRM, which is great. Howard Wallach and Ricky Gunterman are going to be doing almost like recess on the last day, where it's going to be nothing but 40 minutes of games. So it'll be a ton of fun. Jerry Bazada actually just he's got someone pinch hitting for him. Good for him. He got a job promotion, but he was going to be talking about building your business to be attractive to a bank for loans. So if you're growing your business and you want to expand into lighting or photo booths or what have you, you can qualify for a loan. Or God forbid there be any kind of disaster like we all experienced.
Jesus, don't talk about that.
Yeah, but we all get into this business because we love it. We don't necessarily all have a background in
finance,
business or that. So he's got somebody pinch hitting for him from one of the local banks. Jordan Marshall's one of our MCs. Julie Novak is with Party Slate, which is kind of like a very high end version of the Knot. And she's local here, and I know she spoke at DJC before. Matt Campbell from My Wedding Songs is an SEO genius.
Great guy. Genius.
He's doing that. Cubert's giving turntablism and mixing.
And this is all squeezed into 3 days. It's incredible.
It's a shitload.
It goes on. Rachel Lynch, one of our hosts. Rob Foray, we already talked about. Big Daddy's one of our hosts. Scott Favors doing his morning breakfast with the Game Master. Stacey Hawk Carroll is giving her first big presentation. Tamara Sims, which I know is good friends with Mike.
We love Tam.
Yeah, and she is like the association queen here in Chicago. So I talked to her about hosting a thing called Success by Association. So we're going to have a bunch of different people from WIPA, NACE, ILEA. In fact, we just added Jody Harris to it because she's going to be in town as well.
Nice.
I love Jody.
So she's going to be on the panel as well. We've got our morning boot camp with Tavares. Each morning, Troy Adams is a not.com presenter or whatever it's called, Wedding Pro.
From here. He's from North Carolina,
Mm-hmm. And he's running 25 DJs. Yeah. I mean, he's again another rising star that a lot of people didn't know about. And I'll plug this. He came to me and applied to be a presenter the right way. And you can appreciate this, Joe. Like, we have a speaking opportunities page for anyone that feels they want to present. So whenever somebody hits me up on Facebook or in person, I just say, go to our speaking opportunities page, fill it out. He did exactly that. He did it all right, sent me clips of him speaking, even at smaller events, and super excited. I got to actually have dinner with him in Milwaukee, and we really have hit it off. So I'm really looking forward to having him speak. So
yeah.
And those are that's the main presenters.
Yeah, I was about to say that's just the
that's just the highlights.
So where is all the information, KC? Where can people still get tickets? Tell them where to go.
MarqueeShow.com.
Yep. And that's MarqueeShow.com.
Parties each night. So we're hosting an 80s party that Mike will be able to be at.
Yes.
Hey. So, he's going to dress up.
I hope so.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
So, and we're working, I know promo only.
I'm not going to be the only one, right? Everyone else is dressing 80s.
I'm going as Prince. No, I'm just kidding.
You sexy motherfucker.
By the way, it's on the screen there if you're watching this on video. MarqueeShow.com. Yeah.
That reminds me of the story. I went to Mike's 40th birthday, and I had joked that I was going to dress up as Prince with assless chaps like he had in the one thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm not one of the roasters. All of a sudden, Mike turns on me and just starts ripping me a third one. I'm like, dude.
I had been told that you were roasting, so I had some jokes queued up for you, and I'm not going to let jokes go to waste. So I had to use
apparently, my therapist and I still talk about your birthday party.
Oh God. Well, this is good stuff, man. I'm gonna miss it this year, but Mike will be there. I will definitely be there next year. I try and go at least every other year, if not every year. It is a great show. I've enjoyed it 2 of the 4 times, I guess. Right. And again, I mean, so worth the money. Not expensive. You're gonna see new gear, new speakers. Mike Walter's gonna be there. I mean, it's a lot of fun, a lot of parties, a lot of the familiar faces you know and love.
KC and assless chaps. Come on.
Come on.
There you go. You know, my couches are going to have to die for me to get a leather pair of pants.
For a leather pair. Anyway, thank you guys as always. Mike, KC, thank y'all both for being here. Well, Mike's always with me. KC, thanks for being here. And everybody,
nice that you acknowledge him as an equal and not a guest.
No, he is no guest.
It's the Joe Bunn PHDJ podcast.
Soon enough. Soon enough, KC. Soon enough.
He's the only reason this pink pad stays on my desk, because during the podcast, I'm taking notes of things that he does with his business.
Oh, hey, but speaking of which, your QR code tip last week, which I'm not going to say, if anyone hasn't listened, go back and listen to last week's episode, has gotten more feedback, I think, than any tip we ever threw out on this podcast. I had more people be like, QR, like, so if you didn't hear it, go back and listen to last week, and then book your ticket for Marquee, because I want to see you there.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for being on, Case. See you next month.
Thank you.
Casey.
Ciao.